Hi, how y'all doing? It is July the 18th, 2025, here in Ontario, Canada. The sky is blue with that white sheet or white curtain over it, right? Temperature is nice. It went down to about 10 last night, so we cooled right down. I think it's supposed to be 24 today. I dreamt all night last night. I went to bed at 9 because I didn't sleep very well the night before, and went right to sleep. I dreamt all night. I remembered them until I woke up, right? And yeah, in the middle of the night, I woke up and here my jaw part, right? It was like I couldn't open my jaw. It was so icky, right? I'm not sure what that was about, but yeah, it was a strange sensation, let me tell you. Not pleasant. So, I wonder what they did to me while I was sleeping. Weird. I've been getting sharp pains in my head and in my back. Stabbing pains, just different places all over. The Schuman was 70 today. I believe it's starting to lower because my ear's not ringing today. Not at all. Neither one. This one rings louder. They both ring, but my left rings louder. But I also fell and hit my head right on a stone. Give myself a concussion when I was 50, something like that. I didn't go to the hospital, right? I just dealt with it by myself because I'm the kind of person, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, right? They couldn't do anything for me anyway, and I wouldn't want them to stick me with nothing, you know? So yeah, I stopped the bleeding. I was fine. I was just tired for about 2 weeks. I kept on falling asleep. That's how I know I had a concussion. So yeah. Anyway, the energy, I went to the chiropractor yesterday late in the afternoon, and it was like crazy out there. The driving was just horrible, right? It's like people were doing whatever they wanted to do. Not cool, right? And I felt the energy in the air. It was so muggy yesterday too, right? Because it had rained and then it stopped and it just was muggy until it started cooling down at night. And I just felt so much anger out there. And I was talking to the receptionist at the chiropractors, and I was saying how crazy the drivers were. And she goes, "Yeah, I know, right?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I have to drive this weekend and I'm scared," she says. And I said, I get what you're saying. I said, but uh, I'm not worried. I'm always protected when I'm out. And she goes, "How do you know?" And I said, "Because I asked my ancestors to protect me, right?" I said, "It took a lot of ancestors to get you here, right? And they're all standing right there behind you." I said, "All you have to do is ask, right?" I said, "When I feel like drinking, I ask my good ancestors to protect me from my drunkard ancestors. Don't let them influence me." And I said, "And it works." She gave me a big smile, right? I said, "So if somebody messes with you, right, and you're innocent or whatever, right, ask your ancestors." I said, "You good ancestors." I said, "Well, actually, ask all your ancestors because the bad ones might be better at taking care of them, taking care of that, right?" And she smiled. I said, "Do you get it?" And she goes, "Yeah, I get it." And it turns out she's a Taurus too, right? So, yeah, she resonated with what I said, right? And then, of course, I talked to my chiropractor like I normally do. And he gets me. He didn't get the thing either, right? And he understands me when I speak to him about different stuff, right? He was saying about the flooding and all that, right? I said, "Yeah, you know why that's happening?" He says, "Why?" I said, "Because they opened the aqueducts." I said, "There's rivers and lakes under the ground that they got dammed up." I said, "The water's not coming from above. There's not enough water, right? Above, like in the rain and stuff." I said, "It's coming from underground." they've opened the aqueduct. He said, wow. He says, I get it. I said, yeah, eh? So, I never told you guys that either. I apologize. I just did, okay? That's why the water is coming up from underneath the manhole covers and stuff. When you look at all the flooding, it's not coming from anywhere else. It's coming from the ground. It's coming up. So yeah, aqueducts. Check it out. Today, my son was a little bit, I don't know how you'd say it. He was trying to trigger me, or what I was saying to him was trying to trigger him, which was not meant to be. I'm just always myself, right? I don't wear masks. So he's having uncomfortable, he's being affected by the energy and it's making him uncomfortable. He's going to work, so yay, right? For sure. I know there's a lot of crash outs going on. And that's the energy. I told you, people would start going crazy. Alright? They'll start hearing voices, all kinds of crap, auditory hallucination. Well, they're not hallucinations, but that's what they're called. Right? Clairvoyance and clear audio, they'll hear things and see things. So, yeah, crash out means they just self-destruct, start fights, just act erratic, right? Do bad things, hurt people, stuff like that, right? So just be aware of them. They're being affected by the energy. Stay away from them, Don't engage unless you can save somebody. And even then, I'm a person that, they're against. Is it a clone or an NPC or what? This is how I feel about everything. How I've been able to detach myself from people. Right? I let Tass into my life. Because she didn't take the thing either. She's 20 years younger, and I could see her, what she's going through, She even said yesterday, or the other day, she was saying how she told her son that I'm an OG. And I said, that's funny, because that's what my children and their friends used to call me all the time. It's just because I'm real. I don't wear a mask. I don't care who you are. I said, would you like me to put on a mask? I said, I can talk like this if it helps, And she just gave me a big smile. I said, but when I do that, it hurts my throat. I know it's not me, It makes me feel really uncomfortable to be fake. She even thinks it's easy to be bad and good, hard to be good. And I was like, nah, y'all got it backwards. I said, for me, it's always been easy to be good and hard to be bad. Right? My conscience just eats me alive. It starts you calling me all these horrible names, It's not who I am. So yeah, to be good and corny or whatever is way better, right? But I don't come off as somebody that's soft-spoken or, you know, go along to get along. I don't care who's listening, and it doesn't matter where I am. I always speak up. I think it's the Isis energy in me, right? I've always been like that. She even said to me, she goes, you've always been like this, right? Because I told her how my father nicknamed me TKO when I was young, right? She goes, you've always been like this. I said, yeah, this is me. Like, what? You know? So yeah, the energy today feels really strange to me. Different than last week. And we're already a couple days into the last quarter, moon phase, right? Which is about receive and, no, how's that go again? Breathe and elevate, So we're letting energy, I think we went through a major upload, and today is a pause. You're meant just to breathe, ground, relax after those 2 days of 70s. One was 70 yesterday and 73 the day before, right? A lot of energy came in. So yeah. Chiropractor said my traps are really tight. He's like, oh my goodness, you're so stressed. Are you depressed? I said, no, I'm not depressed at all. I said, angry a little bit because of all the pedos in the world, right? And it's not moving fast enough. I said, if you research as much as I research, I said you don't, because you're here all the time. You can't be researching, right? You're working on people. And he was like, yeah, it's true. I said, if you knew what I knew, I said, you'd be angry too. I said, no matter how bad you think it can get, or it is, it's way worse. I said, but on the opposite side, no matter how good you think things are, it could be so much better. And he said, yes, you're right, right? I said, so yeah. I said, just anger. You know what I mean? He says, you need somebody to sit behind you and go like this with your traps here, right? And I was like, yeah, but I'm alone. Ow. I said, like, it's only me that can help myself. I have nobody to do that for me. And he says, I get it, right? So he worked on me a little bit longer, trying to loosen them. This one's is way the tightest one, right? He said, that's probably why you're getting headaches and pains in your head. So, oh, I'm tired of holding up the realm. You know, that's what it means when you have tight shoulders. You're holding up, you're being responsible for the world. So knock it off. I'm not responsible for the world, right? Plus, I said, we just went through some major earthquakes. And there's one pending in Japan. And what's going on in Yellowstone. I told him about the bears coming out of Yellowstone, all the animals. And he was like, wow. He said, something big's going to go off. I said, yeah, right? I said, they know it way before anybody else does. So, yeah, he was there. He said he doesn't know why he went there. He said when he was there, he realized how dangerous of a place it was, and he left. Right? I said, I wouldn't go to somewhere like that, you know? It's just, I'm not drawn to it. I'm not that big of a risk taker. I'm not. I'll take risks, but not like that. So yeah, same reason I don't like boats. Because if I get dumped in the middle of the lake, I'm not making it to shore. So why even put myself in that position, right? Ain't not gonna do it. It's just how I feel about it, folks. So yeah, the energy's new today, in a way. It feels new, probably because the humidity's gone down, and the heat a bit. It's just weird feeling. Really strange feeling today. So yeah, just take it easy, love yourself, right? The God inside of you, the light being, you know? Every day I'm stronger than the day before. There's people out today. No birds. I heard some in the rise, but I didn't see them. Just like when I came home from the Cairo, I heard some birds, and I stood out there and I looked, and I couldn't see them, right? Unless they're just an auditory projection. Who knows, right? In this realm. It's a simulation. I suppose anything could be popped in or be popped out, right? Just like how you delete a program on your phone or your internet. I mean, your computer. So yeah, every day I'm wiser than the day before. I don't have any plans today. I'm just going to relax, make myself dinner later at 5 o'clock. Right? I probably shouldn't tell you that because people could phone me up or knock on my door and interrupt my dinner time. It's okay, I wouldn't let you in anyway, right? I wouldn't. I'd be like, I'm having dinner. Can you come back in a half an hour? Bye. You know? Yeah. Because if I don't have enough for you, I can't eat in front of you, if I haven't made enough. It's just my rules. If somebody's here, I'm going to feed them too. So yeah, I won't eat in front of others just in case you're starving. I'll starve with you. I know, strange, right? It's just who I am. Wonderful. All right. Every day I have more to be grateful for than the day before. And if you feel afraid or something's bothering you, call on your ancestors. They're on the other side of the veil, your consciousness, waiting for you to call. The woman at the chiropractor, she understood that yesterday. She said that. She goes, yeah, like I said, they're there, right? You just can't see them, and they're waiting for you, like, hello? And she goes, yeah, they're waiting for you to ask. They can't come without you asking. I said, exactly. So I asked them, ancestors, help me. You know, kind of thing. It works. Trust yourself. That's all you have to do, is have faith in yourself. You know? All right. I don't know what the Schuman is today. I haven't posted it yet. It's too early. And I wanted to get on here and do a video. It was just felt like it. All right. I love you all's consciousness. Enjoy this night or day. Okay? Okay. Bye.